This, of course, brothers and sisters, is not a One Piece related picture, but it was drawn a very popular character from the world of Bleach for Tekking 101. I will put a link to his channel in the description, but he's a good guy who I have had the pleasure of watching videos for and meeting and working with a little bit, so go check him out. One Piece, Chapter 112, Luffy versus Zoro. This just keeps getting better. Oh, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on really the comically twisted tale of One Piece. Our last chapter saw things ending up with Luffy pretty much, waking up from his slumber, his drunken and food-induced coma, stupor, and being very angry at Zoro and challenging him basically to a fight. Saying, "I'm gonna pummel you, I'm gonna kill you, whatever, I'm gonna beat you up," and us kind of wondering what the hell was going on. So I had made my predictions with it based on what I could think of, the only thing I could think of, because Zoro has been nothing but loyal up until this point that I know of anyway. And so the chapter, picks up where it left off, and we find out almost immediately that Luffy, while getting up and maybe going to the bathroom or something, encountered all the bodies of the unconscious or dead or whatever bounty hunters, the Baroque Works people. And he asked one of them, so who did this to you? And he said, "Oh, your partner, the green-haired swordsman." So Luffy is angry and he's yelling at him and he's going, "These people brought us in and they gave us food and they gave us drink and they treated us." And Zoro's like, "But no, you don't understand." Luffy's like, "That's it, I'm gonna pummel you." So you see Mr. Five and Miss Valentine, they're basically like, okay, well, it looks like they're on the same side. And they're like, no matter, whatever, we got to take them out anyway. If they're in our way, we're going to have to kill them. So Luffy and Zoro kind of, go to start tangling or whatever, and Luffy, he comes at Zoro and goes and nails him. And remember, he's just this big ball, this big round puff Pillsbury Doughboy looking thing. It doesn't even look, it just looks comical. So he comes at him and goes and nails Zoro, and Zoro's like trying to explain to him still, but he's just like, "Luffy, I'm not playing around anymore." He's like, "You don't understand, the people of this town are," and he's trying to get it out and can't, So he winds up going and the Baroque Works agents basically are just like, okay, whatever. It looks like they're fighting amongst themselves, so we'll just leave them to their thing. Let's go and let's get Princess Vivi of Alabasta, right? So they're gonna go towards her and. And like I said, Luffy is, he wants to go toe to toe with Zoro. He's talking about how he's gonna kill him. But anyway, so Zoro goes and he's like, "That's it. Then if I have to fight back, I have to fight back." So he kicks Luffy, right, and nails his ass. Luffy goes flying backwards down the street, and as he goes flying backwards down the street, he nails and knocks down. It kind of brings with him Miss Valentine and Mr. Five, and goes careening into this building, crashing into this building. And gets knocked back or whatever, And like I said, just comical the way the whole thing is portrayed, because the chapter's even called Luffy versus Zoro, and you're thinking, okay, well, this has got to get solved immediately. Zoro's going to have to tell him, "Hey, dude, these are all bad people. They're bounty hunters. They're trying to kill us in our sleep, right? Or they're trying to tie us up and and get the get the bounty for us. What the hell?" So, but Luffy's very one-track minded with things, and a lot of times doesn't think through before he actually does things. So, just rather comical. So then Luffy goes, and he's kind of laying there like flat out or whatever. Goes to get up, and Miss Valentine and Mr. Five are basically like, "Hey, we were just gonna leave you be, because your fight seems to be with each other, but you keep getting in our way." And and then we go and we see it flash back to Zoro outside there, and of course, and Princess Vivi's she's like, "What the hell?" She has no idea what's going on over here. We then go and we see Miss Valentine kind of go flying up in the air, and she's talking about how she has this, "I've got this, I've got this, the kilo fruit." That's what it is. That she says, "I have the power of the kilo fruit." So basically, she can float light and be as light as less than a kilo, which is a couple pounds, right? It's 2.2 pounds, I think. And so she can make herself very, very light, and she's explaining her power, as most people do, as she's kind of fluttering through the air with her little, her Mary Poppins umbrella, right? And and then it's looking at, and Zoro's kind of not really looking at her or paying attention, and Vivi is behind him, Vivi's behind him, and she's like, you look, she's coming at you. You got to pay attention to this. And Zoro's like, whatever. I have other matters to attend to, right? So he's looking across at the building that he knocked Luffy into, right? Luffy comes out of the building and he's got Mr. Five, and Mr. Five looks like bloodied and unconscious. And Luffy just kind of tosses him down like he was nothing, you know? And and even Miss Valentine's like, oh my god, Mr. Five, what happened? So while she's trying to go and announce her power and basically like, pay attention to me, I'm about to try to hit you or whatever, Zoro and Luffy are like locked eye to eye because they're dueling, right? They're gonna be battling. And Zoro's explaining to him, he's like, you know, these people are bounty hunters, you idiot. Don't you understand? They were trying to kill us, you know? Then Luffy's like, I don't want to hear, why would they feed us and give us all that alcohol and treat us so nicely if they were trying to kill us, you know? I'm gonna kill you. And as this is all happening, it's funny because Miss Valentine goes and finishes describing her power, and she can be as light as a feather, or she can weigh as much as 10,000 kilograms, right? Which would be like 22,000 pounds or something like that. It'd be like 10 tons, you know? So as she goes and comes to crash down on Zoro like a ton of bricks, because she's like, watch out, you know, and announces this thing, he dodges out of the way, she misses and kind of just rams into the ground or whatever, or just kind of brushes her aside. I couldn't really tell from the panel. I don't know if he actually hit her and just didn't even have to break his stare with Luffy or what. But him and Luffy start tangling, man, and this is just, it's a comical thing because Luffy goes and charges up, you know, for the gum gum or gomo gomo, you know, and he goes and, you know, does his onigiri, you know, to charge up for that, and he's going to do his gomo gomo bazooka, and they both kind of just come at each other and just, I mean, it's like, you know, what is it? The immovable force meets the unstoppable something, or the unstoppable force meets the immovable wall, or something like that. You know, to where basically like it's these two titans. You know, and it's funny. He's like, it's, you know, and even Zoro says, he's like, we'll see who's better. You know, it's the swordsman or the brawler, or the swordsman or the fighter. You know, and it's really kind of funny because I never expected these two to tussle, especially like this early on in the, because they've had no problems prior to this. I did not see this one coming. So, and it's real comical how it's portrayed. So we go and we see them tussle and, you know, do their special moves on each other. And it's just like a flurry of like arms and hands and swords and whatever. And then we go and we see from the street point of view, looking down the street, and Vivi's sitting there, and she's just like, I don't know what to do. Like, I have to escape, but like, I don't know if these two idiots are I don't know if they're done. You know what I mean? What's going on with them? And you just look, and like the whole town is pretty much just wrecked and destroyed. There's like sides of buildings crumbling. There's just crap everywhere. I mean, it looks like a bomb went off in there, right? And these two are just, you know, I mean, absolutely just batshit crazy. So then we go and we see, you know, Mr. Five and Miss Valentine kind of bloodied and beaten from their, you know, their whole deal or whatever, and you know, from getting, you know, getting hurt individually. They're like, I can't believe, you know, we're agents of Baroque Works, you know, we're officer agents, you know, how do we get beat, you know, and blah blah blah, you know, and they're like, oh, we're just gonna have to show them the true power of us, you know. So they, you know, kind of team up and come charging at them together, you know, and you know, Mr. Five and Miss Valentine, and Luffy and Zoro. Both in one fell swoop turn the attention from each other to them, and they're basically just like, leave us alone, get out of our way type of deal. Like, buck off, this is our battle, right? This is our fight, we're fighting each other. And both in one double splash page fell swoop, you know, they both just get nailed. And that's how, you know, that's how things end or whatever, is that, you know, I'm assuming them getting laid out. So it was just really kind of a comical chapter. It went by very quickly. And as I said, just the way everything was portrayed, I mean, I did not know that Luffy and Zoro were going to tussle like this. And I mean, Luffy's really trying to kill him. I mean, there's one point where Zoro even says that. He's like, God, you know, he really means it. He's trying to kill me. You know, I now have to defend myself for my life, you know. And I mean, he says, like, that idiot, he's trying to kill me. But I mean, he truly means that he's trying to kill him. So I just thought it was rather comical. So, you know, my I guess my chapter question would be is if you put yourself in this place, right, as Vivi, for instance, you know, I mean, or I guess it could be one of the officers of Baroque Works, but basically as Vivi, the person who's really the victim here, trying to be rescued, you know. I mean, you're sitting there. What do you think when you see this? I mean, when you see this happening, your would-be rescuer, who was just fighting you, of course, 10 minutes ago. But of course now he's your rescuer because of the deal that was made between Nami and your servant or whatever. But you're not even really aware of that. You just know that he's here to rescue you now. I mean, what would you think? You know, I mean, what would be going through your head if you were in her position? You know what I mean? Or if you were in a position like that, where these two people that, you know, they technically, I guess they would be against you, you know, the way it was, because you were this undercover, you know, you were this agent that was undercover, but you were pretending to just be, you know what I mean? The whole deception that they had going on there was is really kind of multi-layered, you know. But just in her position right now, thinking I need to be rescued. The swordsman told me he's going to rescue me, and now him and his best buddy are like fighting to the death and just destroying the town, you know. So, and I thought it was comical too how they're pretty much just wiping the floor too as like an afterthought with Mr. Five and Miss Valentine. It was also worth mentioning too, and I believe it was actually in the last chapter. But you know, it goes back and it shows Igaram talking with Nami, and he gives a brief description of the whole, you know, Baroque Works and the thing with the boss and everything else. The whole idea is the boss is like, you know, Mr. Zero or whatever. The lower your number is, I guess, the higher up you are in the ranks, the better of a, you know, agent you are, the more powerful you are. But the whole idea is that the Baroque Works is the secret organization of assassins, bounty hunters, that type of thing, and that they're around to, you know, to basically they're trying to create this utopia. And if you're one of their officers or agents doing this kind of the bidding of this boss, you're kind of signing up. You're like all in, almost like a cult. You know, you're kind of all in for like the okay, well, when we, you know, get to this utopia or whatever, you know, you're going to have a place in it. So it's definitely worth mentioning because it was real good development along with the you know, with the chapter. And like I said, I believe it was in the last one, you know, and it was something that I had just missed. So I certainly wanted to cover it because although many of you know about the Baroque Works, you know, from being, of course, ahead and caught up, I don't. So this is all good knowledge for me and good background information about this secret organization. So remember to leave your comments down below and let me know what you think, of course, you would do in that situation if you were in Vivi's shoes, I guess, or heels or boots or whatever it is that she's wearing. And then certainly feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you think that I deserve it, and you know, subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching you, yes, you, and you too, next time, Nation. Remember, brothers and sisters, to share, subscribe, spread the word of the nation to others, and of course, if you like watching the videos, you know, watching them is always much appreciated. Have a nice day.